Hello, hello. This is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers, and in my possession, just off camera, I have access. It's in my hand. I have access to a note from Elon Musk to all Tesla employees dated April 17, 2018. And this is all about Elon Musk and his productivity tips for the Tesla team. And in the next few short minutes, I'm going to share the four most important things that I extracted out of this productivity letter to Tesla employees. Again, this is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers. This is Greater Wealth Through Mastery, and we are about to dig in. Here it is. Here is number one. Again, of the most important things that Elon Musk shared with Tesla employees. Excessive meetings are the blight of big companies and almost always get worse over time. What this tells us is that meetings are death. Meetings decrease productivity. Big companies, guess what? The bigger you are, the harder you fall. The more that you suffer from the disease of meetings, meeting after meeting after meeting. Now, I remember my time in corporate America, and I'll tell you that the most productive people, truly the most bottom line productive people, had the fewest meetings. That is, unless they were in sales and they were directly talking to people and they used their calendar as a way of keeping track of who they were going to talk with and interact with so that the company would generate more revenue and ultimately more profits. They were not in meetings with other people in the business. In fact, it was very difficult to get a hold of these people, to have them go through various trainings, spend time in meetings that were ultimately not productive because they weren't selling to the end customer. They were not having interactions with those people who would actually fork over money for the sake of getting their hands on products and services that were being sold by this company. Now, I saw this up close as a sales and marketing business analyst. I saw this and I was running meeting after meeting after meeting. The engineers would have many meetings, but they wouldn't like them. They tried to stay away from meetings and they would only go in to provide updates, technical expertise, but otherwise they didn't attend or really adhere to many of the meeting requirements unless they were truly hardcore requirements. And they avoided, get-togethers. They avoided time where they would just try to brainstorm new ideas, new operations that seemed to make sense for the business. They put their nose to the grindstone, and the engineers were highly effective writing code, working on various APIs and interfaces. They were doing things with their minds, and they were highly productive, and it was wonderful. Now, that's in comparison to other parts of the business where, let's face it, you have to grease the wheels of a large corporation. So you'd have, for example, contracts, you'd have the contracts folks, you'd have suppliers, you'd have certain groups within IT, information technology. Whether they wanted to or not, it didn't matter. They had a lot of meetings and they didn't work to get out of the meetings. It was a way to pass the time, take notes, and just absolutely horrible. Anyhow, that's number one. So if you understand the death by meetings, you see why Musk really has gone after this. Again, 2018. So that's quite a few years ago at this point. All right, number two. This is what he's saying for higher productivity. Walk out of a meeting or drop off a call as soon as it is obvious you aren't adding value. Now, that gets thrown around a lot, adding value. If you're ever curious about how you can add value, think about the direct impact to customers. Direct impact to customers. The value that they're getting. If you're not adding value to something that in some way adds value to a customer, something's wrong. and you need to recalibrate, you need to find a way. If you want to make more money, then guess what? Get closer to the customer. Closer to the customer directly, like the example I used earlier, like sales and perhaps marketing, mostly sales, direct sales in particular, face to face even better, or something directly related to a product that will get into the hands of a customer, something that you're selling. So it's people selling and channels and funnels that are used to sell, and then it's the product being sold. Basically, everything else is not as much of a value add. It's not as much of a value add because the further you get away from the product and the further you get away from the customer, the further you are away from adding value. Now, it's very hard to understand if you've never done sales and marketing or you've never done technical work as a programmer or an engineer. But if you think about it, it makes sense. If you are doing something like customer support, bless your heart, by the way, I love customer support and the help desk. It's absolutely critical. It's essential, yet it is further away from the customer and further away from the product than someone who's doing frontline sales or an engineer, for example. Now, there are caveats. There are times where that's not the case. For example, a proactive call center, a proactive help desk, proactive. What they will do, what the individual will do, and what the team will do is they'll gather up all the bugs, all the issues, all the problems, everything the customers are saying, and they'll take that material, the complaints, the objections, and so on, and they will pass those along to the designers, the developers, the programmers, the engineers, and the salespeople, because that tells, okay, for two reasons. One is you can create a better mousetrap. You can create better products that the customers want because you're solving the problems that you or the company has created. And you can remove problems and improve the product or create entirely new products or find new markets. It's beautiful. You can also use the same information from the help desk, from the call center. Again, this is like, well, I'm just reacting. No, you're not. You're taking the material, bundling it up, and then you're providing it to the sales force, and the sales force can use it to know ahead of time what the sales objections are. Like, why do people keep saying this? Why do people keep saying no? What's the problem that they're having? And you can proactively reach out to the sales team and say, this is what we're seeing over and over and over again. So you can work on a way to work around this, to handle this objection, or work with the product team and solve this problem in another way. This is tremendously valuable. So that's how you can go. This is like a real secret, because you can go from being someone who is, oh, I'm just, in the call center, to being very, very close to sales, very close to the engineers. You can become far more valuable to the organization. This is how you add value. It's also how you get raises. It's also how you get recognition from those who are close to the customer. It's also how you get new jobs that are closer to the customer, and then you can get a much bigger, fatter raise and a much better job. So I don't want to be in customer service. I get it. I understand. This is how you can become more of a salesperson. This is exactly how you can do that. And Musk is just saying it a different way. He's saying just drop off the meeting. If you're not adding value to the meeting and the people in the meeting, then drop off and then use your time for something that is far, far better. Really insightful, right? Really great. Okay, number 3. Communication should travel via the shortest path necessary to get the job done, not through the chain of command. This is direct authorization to leap, jump, go above those who are directly above you. Or if you think you're beholden to someone else, but you think there is a better, faster way to get the information to someone who can solve the problem or instantiate some new gee whiz feature that the customers want, and so on, then go to the source. Go to the person who has the highest leverage that you can interact with, that you can help, that is going to make the most sense for the product being improved, for the customer being satisfied. And Musk is saying this is the right thing to do. This will improve, this is what this is all about. This will improve the productivity of you as an individual, but it'll improve the overall productivity of the team of the entire company and possibly even improve the productivity of your customers, which is just a win all around. And there are many examples of this. You can start thinking this through in your own business or in businesses that you've been in, and it should be a real light bulb that you go to the person who has the most leverage, the person who has the most control, the person who's closest to the problem. Go right to it. Don't go, don't take the long way around, the circuitous route, right? Go right to the source, right to the real players that can instantiate the change. And number four, it must be okay for people to talk directly and just make the right thing happen. This is a combination of what I just said and making proper rational judgment, right? So this is making the right judgment. And if you're rational, and that's kind of what Musk is getting at here, this is not a plea to emotion. This is a plea to rationality and doing the most direct right thing. Talk and work directly to make the right thing happen, right? It's okay. It must be okay. Not that it is okay. It must be okay. It must be okay for people, that is you, to talk directly. That's to the customer, possibly. There are gatekeepers there, though, too. You know it. Talk to the people directly and just make the right thing happen. In a way, this is kind of crazy because it's about an appeal to a moral code. It is a moral judgment. It is the right thing to do to reach out to the people that can have the right impact. So this is sort of a combination of a few things. We've already talked about chain of command. We've already talked about going to the sort of the right person at the right time, and shortening the distance between people. That makes sense from a productivity point of view, but it's also of grave importance from a moral point of view to do the right thing, to go directly to the people that can instantiate or can direct change and fix things properly or build and create anew. Very, very cool, very important. And the question is does this line up with your experience? Let me know in the comments below. Also, you will find some great information in the description below about what we can do to possibly help you through the power of AI, artificial intelligence, of course, but really so much more than that. There's other tips and tricks and guidance there for you that are either free or very, very low cost. Of course, subscribe, and I want to know if this resonates with you or not. In the next video that should be popping up or has already popped up, you'll be able to see exactly how Elon Musk and his thinking line up with what we've just gone through together. So take a look at that next video, enjoy it, share it with someone who you think might get a lot of value out of it, just like this video. Thank you for your time. This is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers. My brother Matt and I really do appreciate you. Thank you and take care.